Hey, welcome back to the Lightspeed Social Agency YouTube channel. I want to talk to you today about why you cannot find landscaping employees, right? I'm Cody Owen, your host as always. I know that this is one of the huge pain points in the lawn care and landscaping industry. So many companies in anywhere trying to find this sort of like entry-level labor position is just so hard right now. So I want to talk to you about some of the reasons why you are having trouble finding employees for your business. We're just going to rip the band-aid off here and talk through what the three things are, and then I'm going to get into how to fix them, right? So number one is you don't pay enough. If the Burger King down the street pays people more, they're going to go there. So if you're not paying enough to compete for the labor in your market, you're not going to win, right? End of story. Number two, you don't seem professional enough to inspire confidence. If people show up to the shop and the trucks are all banged up, the equipment looks like it's, barely staying afloat, people are not going to think, this is a company where I could spend the next few years. So you're going to end up with the kind of employee who's so short-sighted, they're only thinking about like the next 2 months, and that's the kind of employee who's going to be gone. They're going to flake eventually, they're going to take some other opportunity. You want people who are willing to stay for several seasons, for several years. You want people who maybe even intend to work in the lawn care industry long term. Finally, the third thing is people are taking easier jobs for more money, right? Every town has a call center now for some big business. I live across the street from a Chase call center, and they have a 6,000 car parking garage, right? They are swallowing up the kind of labor that would go to the sort of entry-level positions at any small business near here. So you have to compete on the things that you can change. You have control over the pay that your employees receive, the benefits that make up their total compensation package, and your culture. I had to look down at my notes to remember culture. So we're going to talk through those things. The very first thing to remember is that if you're paying the bare minimum it takes to get an employee to show up, you're going to get the bare minimum employee, right? That is a universal truth. And everybody has a story of they hired this one guy for next to nothing and he's been there forever. That is not normative, right? This is, if you pay the bare minimum, you can expect the bare minimum in return. This is an exchange, right? And if the deal seems too good to be true, it is. If you were going to buy a truck and someone had listed it for several $1,000s under the Kelley Blue Book value for the truck, you'd be suspicious that something was wrong, right? If you have an employee come in who agrees to work for you for several dollars an hour under the market rate, then something is wrong, right? The deal is too good to be true. So we want to be competing on that market rate. You do not want employees who have to take the bare minimum deal, right? Ethically, that feels questionable, but also you're going to end up with the kind of person who can only take that deal, and they're only going to be there until they get a slightly better offer. The second improvement here, benefits, thinking about what sort of benefits you can provide employees to keep them around and to attract the right kind of employee, right? So the first step here is to have a conversation with existing employees about the kind of benefits that the business could provide that would improve their life, make them feel more secure in their position, right? So this could be as simple as, I use Gusto for payroll, and they have a 401k partner that you can work with, and it is set up in such a way that if the person leaves the company, they can take their 401k with them. I would think that you'd probably want to provide at least a low level of matching contributions that go into their 401k. That's usually capped at a percentage of their annual pay. Important thing to think about there. On the health insurance side, if you want guys who are secure and stable and are the kind of guys who are going to be people who are married and have kids, they're going to be interested in some form of health insurance at their job. They want to be responsible and take care of their family, and health insurance is one of the ways that they can do that. So you want to look into ways that you can do that. And if you don't have these kinds of benefits, right, it makes it hard for you to compete with bigger companies that are hiring people to work in call centers who will provide that sort of thing. So this could be some form of subsidizing a market plan for health insurance. This could be, sort of as a starting point, providing dental and vision, which is usually a lot more affordable. Looking at those sorts of benefits and talking to employees and seeing what makes sense for them, and would this be something that they would want and need. That is a really great way to engage in this process. Finally, professionalism. So you are competing now with all of these call center jobs. Anyone can answer a phone, even somebody who would rather be outside working with their hands, but for the right price, they will be trapped inside. They will answer the phone, and they might develop an ulcer, but if it has the benefits are right, the pay is right, and the stability seems right. And that's the key thing with the professionalism here, is that we want to project stability to prospective employees, that they know that if they want to be here for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they have that opportunity, right? If they show up to be interviewed, just like I said at the top, and the trucks look banged up, the equipment looks run down, your office is looks like a tornado spread every piece of paper you've ever touched around it, it's not going to make people feel confident that you've got things under control and that the business is sustainable, right? So we want to consider that and sort of getting off on the right foot with prospective employees. The more that you can wrap your mind around the idea that the employee market is not only tilted in favor of employees right now, but is also a market, right, where you're competing with other companies to acquire employees, the more success you're going to have there, right? You need to be thinking about this as, I have direct competition, not just in people who provide the same services for me, but the companies that provide a different service, but are competing for the same pool of labor. And you have to outpay them. You have to present to employees a total compensation package that makes sense for them and their family. And these are the kind of things that you have to do. You have to start thinking about to level up your business. To get beyond that $1 million point, you can't be hiring an entire new staff every summer, right? That doesn't work. That's not sustainable. If you continue adding customers to that business, you're just increasing the number of employees that you have to hire to service all of those customers, and you're gonna get trapped. And so that's not what I want for you. That's not what you want for you. So you have to find your competitive advantage. What can you do to compete with bigger businesses, with other lawn care companies? What can you do to be different than those jobs? And a lot of people would rather work in a place where they know the decision maker that's going to make decisions that impact their life. So you have a pretty distinct advantage there, being a small business owner, being able to engage with all the employees in your business routinely so that you know what they want, what they need, their families' names. That's not something you can get working at a Chase call center with 6,000 other people that answer the phone. So think about those things, craft your unique value proposition, right? The same thing that you do to sell to potential customers for your services, that's what you have to do for potential employees. You have to think, who is my ideal employee? What do I need to tell them? What kind of business do I need to run that's going to keep them here, that's going to attract them to the business? We're going to talk about how to keep people next week. And if that is something that you need help with, you need help figuring out how to get prospective employees in the door. That is something we do at Lightspeed. We run Indeed ads for companies. We are not like a recruiting firm. We're not taking a cut of your employees' pay. You're not paying by the head to us. You're paying for ad spend on Indeed and a flat rate for us to manage the kind of first tier of contact with them. That's the automated phone interview. So we get people to apply. We get them to complete an automated phone interview, and we qualify and disqualify based on that phone interview, so that the only people you're chasing down for an interview are people who have already engaged in the process by doing an extra step, and they've qualified themselves through that extra step. I cannot tell you how many people have disqualified themselves in an automated phone interview by saying they would fight coworkers. So if that is something you need help with, get in touch with us here through DMs or on our website, whatever works best for you. We would love to help you out with that, help you find the right team to grow your business and grow your business at light speed, like we always say. All right, I will talk to you next week.